Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Long time no see. Welcome to Superwoman on our digital TV channel F15. My name is Heidi Eichinger, and on this broadcast, I'm talking to experienced leaders, young professionals, enthusiasts, founders, and executives who share lessons learned to increase diversity in their companies in order to be more productive, efficient, and hopefully happy. My guest today is a very extraordinary young lady. It's Mina Saidze. Mina is a founder and director of the European headquarters of Women in Data. Currently, she's working on data products for brand partners at Idealo. Idealo is a price comparison portal and one of the largest e-commerce websites in Germany. Furthermore, she advises the executive board of Axel Springer on strategy, innovation, and culture as a youth council member. Welcome, Mina. Sounds like you are 55, but in reality, you're under 30, I guess. Welcome to Superwoman. Let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into this data thing? And what is Women in Data all about?
Thanks for the invitation, Heidi. I'm very pleased to be here today and talk with you about my journey into the world of big data, as well about our mission at Women in Data. So my personal journey wasn't really straightforward, even if you look at my CV. So I used to be many things once upon a time. Like right after my secondary school graduation, I decided to go to Tanzania and worked on solar home system installations for a year. And then after promoting renewable energy in Africa, I decided to come to Berlin, where I studied economics. And due to my focus on numbers, statistics, and facts, I was always interested in investigative journalism because I wanted to discover groundbreaking stories and political intrigues behind the scenes. And my passion for activism and media, and also doing all the research, then led me to the world of numbers. And I had to analyze a lot of data to understand how the world around us works. And this is how I actually got into data, because I saw that data helps you to understand the phenomena which we have, and also finding relationships between A, B, and C. And this is how I became a data analyst ultimately. And also because of idealism, basically. So it was not always that I went into this field and thought, well, I want to be a techie. It was more due to curiosity, what you can do with it. And with Women in Data, I found really my passion to advocate for gender equality and female empowerment in the field of big data and artificial intelligence, because currently we are only 22% of women working in this field worldwide. And I want to change the narrative, because if you consider that AI is revolutionizing all aspects of our life, and we are half of the world population, we should definitely part on how this new world is supposed to look like. And this is why we at Women in Data want to promote awareness, education, and advancement. And this is why I launched Europe's first headquarters here in Berlin. And now we're also based in London, Frankfurt, and Istanbul as well.
That sounds nice. Coming back to your data topic, I mean, this sounds not quite as theoretical as it used to sound. I like to have this comparison with numbers, having like this data bias is analyzed. Would you please again, tell me how your perspectives on data look like? Because it is quite, I don't know if this is like a GSA phenomenon that there are less women in this data thing, like compared to Asia, for example. But there is somehow, you know, I think that for some women or for some persons, for many of them, obviously, it's difficult to get into this field, or it seems to be difficult. And you just turn it the other way around. So I'm very curious to hear more about this perspective, how to get into this field, because you're not only addressing young women and techies or people who know this number of things. You are also addressing people who work completely on different fields.
Exactly. This is such a good question, because the problem is that everyone has got a picture of data analysts, data scientists, and machine learning experts in their mind, that we're some people and typing lines of code and not interacting socially with anyone else. Although the field is not that abstract, not that nerdy or competitive, but this is how women actually perceive it. And this is also the reason why they decide not to pursue data science opportunities. And this is why we want to break the stereotypes at women by building a community and showing that it's not that abstract as it seems to be. Because if you look into the media coverage, you always see this, breakthrough technologies, but they don't really show real life use cases on how companies implement it in a day-to-day business. And this is why we organize symposiums and meetups where people can show really simple use cases. It's not like the most fancy machine learning algorithm, but it starts with middle school mathematics, with the linear regression, for instance, we all might know. And but also showing,
I already forgot about this.
Yeah, but this is like, something you still know from middle school, and it's a simple machine learning algorithm, and also the most commonly used. For which you always see this really fancy projects about deep learning and so on. And we want to show them, okay, you can start simply from the scratch, and you even don't need to have a background in computer science or business information systems. You can about the self-motivation to learn new things, because if we look at today's world, it's rapidly changing. Technology is changing all the time. So it's more about being someone who's curious and self-driven, rather having necessarily this tech background. And anyone can transition into these careers. That's why we also show female role models who also didn't have, a linear career path, and then transitioned into the field, to motivate them and to also show them it's never too late to start a career in this field. Because if you look at the culture, it always seems that we are having hackathons. It's always like, competition based, elbows out against each other. But in reality, it's teamwork. You need to be a team player, because if you're developing a product or a service and you want to share it with a large share of the population, you need to gather feedback, review stuff, and be someone who really believes in the aspect of community rather than competition. And women don't perceive this field like that because of the bro culture also that exists. And that's why it's so important for us to be the voice of the industry and also changing the face of it.
So do you also go to schools, or is it rather that you organize those gatherings for every age who is interested in?
If you look at our community, there are different types of people. We have, on the one hand, the newbies who never got into touch with data but are interested in the field. We also have transitioners who are curious about exploring the opportunities. and potentially get a job. And then there are also people like me who already work in this field and want to advocate for it. In terms of age, there are high variations. So we have people who are in the beginning of their 20s who started their studies. Then we also have women in their 40s even, or single moms who want to pursue this goal and change their career path. And we want to help them along the way by retraining them to data analysts and data scientists with our bootcamp. And we do not focus on schools because we think there are also many amazing other women in tech organizations out there who already have got an emphasis on this target group. And that's why we focus on women from the age of 20 up to 60 plus.
That's good, because I think the job opportunities might be quite good at this field.
Definitely, especially if you look in Berlin here. I mean, this is also why we decided to start a headquarter here, because Berlin is the hotspot for innovation, startups, and technologies. Although here we only have 16% of women in Germany working in the field of big data and artificial intelligence. So you still see the gender data gap even here, although technology is booming, especially in Berlin. And this is why it's so important for us to have launched this chapter here, to have more women to go out there and work in this field, because even during Corona times, you can find a job, and it's an attractive career with job security. And I think it's also sexy, you know why? Because you're independent, I mean, there's nothing more powerful than a woman who, can stand on her own ground. So I think it's not nerdy at all. It's actually a pretty cool job.
Yeah, that sounds very nice. Do you want to just tell us a little bit what you do as member of the Youth Council of Springer? I mean, you are a generation, are you Z? Is this Gen Z?
Generation Y, it's changing all the time.
For Y, I think for Y you're too young. But
I'm not generation TikTok anymore. For TikTok, I'm too old, but I think I'm still generation Instagram.
Okay, for as expert on Gen Instagram, I guess that the executive board of Axel Springer is interested in your mindset and in your, your capabilities on in using like the social media things and your perspectives. You also as a data analyst and professional. I mean, what do you do there, and how do you advise them? I mean, what's the job there?
So my background is also in the media industry as well in the tech industry. So I see myself as a bridge builder between the creative professionals and the people who work in the field of data analytics, because I also used to be a journalist. I still write nowadays about diversity in tech. And I want to advise them on the transition from Europe's leading publishing house to a media and tech company. Because if we look at the media industry, it is also changing, and we need to come up with business models in order to keep up with the loss in the print newspapers, because nowadays people don't go out there, unfortunately, and buy print newspapers, and we need to digitalize a lot and furthermore come up with new product innovations, and also personalized offerings in order to improve the user experience. And during the discussions with the board, it's not always about who's right on something. It's more about sharing your perspective as someone who belongs to my generation, a young professional who's under 30 years old. And we are a diverse group of people from Politico, Business Insider, Inc.com, Welt, Idealo, and Stepstone, because Axel Springer is not only the newspaper business, but we also have verticals such as Idealo. And hence, it's so important to have this exchange between the executive board, who is, 40 plus, 50 plus, versus our generation. And I'm incredibly happy that they have this program, because it really shows that they listen to our generation, because usually people say doesn't care about their pension funds, and they rather spend it on backpack trips. And some of the stereotypes might be true. However, we are also the generation who was raised with the globalization, are digital natives, and this is why it's so important to have these conversations going, and help them to also be a player in the field of media and tech.
So good that they have you. Let's come again a little bit back on the data. For you, you are a very politically thinking and acting person. And for you, understanding data for all of us, for women, men, wherever they come from, whatever their background is, has a lot to do with democratization. So you want to get rid of those biases and whatever it is, hurdles to step into this field. This has also something to do with your family and your background, where you come from. Tell us at the end of this interview a little bit about this, just to push on a little bit this movement that you are into.
Yeah, so you're completely right. I'm really passionate about data democratization, because it shouldn't be a privilege of a small elite, and it should be accessible for everyone, especially for women and ethnic minorities. And this also comes back to my personal story, because my parents were political activists in Iran and Afghanistan, and they were always passionate about gender equality and democratization. And due to my upbringing as daughter of political activists, I was always highly motivated by purpose. I know some people think it's some form of trend whatsoever, but for me it wasn't, that's why I when I worked as data analyst, I could also see that I'm a minority again. This was also the same in the media industry, because even in Germany we have a lack of diversity in the newsrooms. At the moment we have only 4% of journalists with a migration background in Germany. And then I came into the field of big data and artificial intelligence, the same 16%. And then I thought to myself, well, diversity is something I really deeply care about. Doesn't matter if I work in the media or tech industry, I need to change something about it. And this is why I also founded European headquarters of Women in Data, and also to have built up this community, and hope that we can also launch more chapters in the future in Europe, and hopefully close the gender data gap and increase awareness.
Mina, for those who want to connect with you, how can they reach out to you?
So our website is womenindata.org, and there you can find our organization. And furthermore, we also have all typical social media channels such as Instagram, LinkedIn, and even Twitter. And if you want to reach out to the European headquarters of Women in Data, you can also shoot me an email at berlinchapter@womenindata.org.
Thank you, Mina, for this very interesting talk. It was nice, really nice talking to you here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. For those,
thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And for those who don't want to miss out any of our broadcasts, please press the subscribe button. Stay healthy, Mina, you as well, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Same here. The pleasure was mine. Thank you, Heidi.
Bye, Mina.
Bye-bye.